Hollywood never stands still, and neither do its stars. Once upon a time, these faces were everywhere. The teen heartthrobs of the 80s, the icons who defined entire eras of film. But now, time has worked its magic, and in some cases, its cruelty, leaving transformations so shocking you might not even recognize them. Do you remember who they were? Hit that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe, because what you're about to see are the most jaw-dropping before and after moments in Hollywood history. Join us as we reveal how time has completely reshaped the legends you thought you knew. Keanu Reeves, almost unrecognizable. For years, he was Hollywood's eternal mystery, the man who never seemed to age. His youthful face and timeless aura had fans whispering that maybe Keanu had found the secret to immortality. But now, as he steps into his 60s, the truth is impossible to ignore. Even Keanu Reeves cannot outrun time. The changes are written across his appearance. That once jet black mane is now brushed with streaks of silver. His beard, once rugged and dark, is now more white than black. The smooth, boyish features that defined him in Speed and The Matrix are etched with deep lines and weathered contours, signs of a man who has lived, lost, and endured. His tall frame remains, but it carries a quieter weight, his movement slower, his rhythm heavier than the lightning-fast hero fans once knew. For those who still picture him as Neo in sleek black leather, or the fiery young cop racing through Speed, seeing today's Keanu can be a shock. On red carpets, in candid photos, the contrast is striking. He no longer radiates the untouchable image of a flawless action star. Instead, he carries something far more powerful, the presence of a man who has survived, matured, and learned to wear time with dignity. But here's the paradox. This older Keanu is more loved than ever. The gray hair, the wrinkles, the softened edges, they don't diminish him. They make him real. They make him human. Unlike so many stars desperately chasing youth with cosmetic masks, Keanu has chosen honesty. He embraces age with humility and grace, standing as a rare reminder in an industry obsessed with perfection. What he represents today goes beyond action stardom. He has become a symbol of resilience, authenticity, and acceptance, the courage to grow older in front of the world without shame. And in that, Keanu Reeves has become unforgettable in a way that even his ageless youth could never achieve. There was a time when Melanie Griffith was Hollywood's golden girl, a radiant star whose blonde hair, soft voice, and magnetic charm made her unforgettable. In films like Working Girl, she wasn't just the pretty face of the moment. She proved she had the talent, the grit, and the charisma to hold her own among the greats. In the 1980s and 90s, she embodied glamour itself, the kind of actress who seemed destined to shine forever. But today, decades later, that image feels like a distant memory. Fans who catch a glimpse of Melanie Griffith now are often stunned, because she looks almost unrecognizable from the star they once adored. Time, lifestyle, and cosmetic procedures have left their mark. The porcelain-smooth skin of her youth has given way to wrinkles and natural sagging, while her once iconic eyes and lips bear noticeable changes. For those who grew up watching her in romantic dramas and edge-of-your-seat thrillers, the transformation can feel shocking. The tabloids, of course, never let it go unnoticed. They plaster then and now photos across headlines, fueling endless debates. Were the surgeries too much? Did Hollywood's ruthless beauty standards push her there? Or is it simply the reality of a woman in her mid-60s who has lived, loved, and endured? Yet beyond the altered appearance lies a truth that cannot be denied. Melanie Griffith survived. She weathered the brutal pressures of fame, endured public scrutiny, navigated high-profile marriages, and faced personal demons. She is no longer the starlet of the 80s. She is something else, something stronger. In recent years, Melanie has spoken openly about her choices, her surgeries, and her acceptance of who she is now. That candor, that refusal to hide, has earned her admiration. To many, she no longer represents fading beauty but raw authenticity. So yes, you may not immediately recognize Melanie Griffith today. The glowing ingenue of Working Girl is gone, replaced by a woman who wears her scars, lines, and years without apology. But look closer and you'll still see the star power, the The resilience, the wisdom, the story of a woman who lived life on her terms. Different, maybe, but unforgettable all the same. Ralph Macchio, you might not recognize him anymore. When he first stepped onto the screen in 1984 as Daniel LaRusso in The Karate Kid, audiences were swept away by his wide-eyed innocence and boy-next-door charm. At just 22, he looked like a real teenager, skinny, scrappy, and full of heart. Overnight, he became a pop culture legend. 4 years afterward, fans joked that Macchio had discovered the fountain of youth. His boyish face and eternal teen aura made him Hollywood's forever kid. But time has a way of catching up, even with the eternal teenager. Now in his early 60s, Macchio is nearly unrecognizable compared to the boy who crane-kicked his way into movie history. His once smooth face now bears the deeper lines of a life fully lived, his soft dark hair now thinner, streaked with gray. The wiry, energetic frame that once defined him has slowed, shaped by the natural pull of age. Fans who hadn't seen him in decades were stunned when Cobra Kai put him back in the spotlight. The youthful underdog they remembered had transformed into a man marked by time. Yet his aging has given him something Daniel LaRusso never had before: weight, wisdom, gravitas. The same wide-eyed kid who once leaned on Mr. Miyagi now embodies the mentor himself. His slower movements and weathered features only deepen his portrayal of a man who's grown, endured, and lived through decades of change. Yes, Ralph Macchio may no longer look like the eternal teenager of the 1980s. But perhaps that's the point. The boy who once needed guidance has become the guide. And though you may not recognize him at first glance, his enduring presence proves a powerful truth: real star power doesn't fade with age, it evolves. Meryl Streep. You might not even recognize her now. For decades, she's been celebrated as the greatest living actress of her generation. In the late 70s and throughout the 80s, she mesmerized audiences with a rare combination of luminous beauty and once-in-a-lifetime talent in films like Kramer vs. Kramer, Sophie's Choice, and Out of Africa. With porcelain skin, sharp cheekbones, and a grace that seemed untouchable, Meryl wasn't just a performer, she was the very image of timeless Hollywood elegance. But today, as she moves through her mid-70s, the woman who once lit up every screen looks strikingly different. The signs of time are written across her face, fine lines deepened into wrinkles, her once smooth complexion touched by the sagging that no one escapes. The golden waves of hair that once shimmered under the lights have softened into silvery strands, styled with quiet dignity. The radiant glow of youth has faded, replaced by something deeper, the visible history of a life fully lived, marked by triumphs, heartbreaks, and countless smiles. On the red carpet, she no longer dazzles with the youthful glamour that defined her early years. Instead, she carries a different kind of beauty, the understated elegance of a woman who has aged naturally and unapologetically. To fans who remember her as the razor-sharp Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada, the contrast can be jarring. That commanding, untouchable figure has given way to a gentler presence, with softer features and slower movements. The transformation has sparked endless conversations online, with many noting just how unrecognizable she appears compared to her iconic roles. But here's the truth: unlike so many Hollywood stars, Meryl has never tried to cheat time. She has embraced aging openly, refusing the drastic cosmetic changes that so often leave others looking artificial. That choice may shock those clinging to the memory of her youth, but it's also what makes her more admired than ever. Meryl Streep's aging hasn't dimmed her star power. It has redefined it. She now stands as living proof that true greatness, true artistry, transcends youth, beauty, and the fleeting illusion of perfection. So yes, you might not immediately recognize Meryl Streep today if you're still picturing the glowing young actress of the 1980s. But what you will see is far more powerful: a woman who has aged with dignity, authenticity, and grace. A legend who reminds us that while appearances change, brilliance never fades. Kevin Costner, hardly anyone recognizes him anymore. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, he was Hollywood royalty. With rugged good looks, piercing blue eyes, and that quiet, magnetic charm, Costner stole the screen in classics like The Untouchables, Dances with Wolves, and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was the definition of an all-American movie star, tall, handsome, and effortlessly charismatic. But today, in his late 60s, Costner's transformation is striking. So striking that longtime fans admit they almost don't recognize him. The changes are impossible to ignore. His once thick, sandy blonde hair has thinned and turned to shades of silver. The smooth, boyish face that once graced magazine covers is now lined with deep wrinkles, etched across his forehead, around his eyes, and carved at the corners of his mouth. His sharp jawline has softened, his frame heavier, his posture slower, signs of a man who has lived decades in the unforgiving glare of Hollywood. And yet, this transformation has given him something new. On Yellowstone, as ranch patriarch John Dutton, Costner leans into this weathered look, the grizzled, world-weary presence of a man who has fought and endured. For fans who remember the fearless outlaw of Robin Hood or the romantic hero of The Bodyguard, it's a shocking contrast. The once boyish heartthrob is now every inch the silver-haired veteran. But here's the truth. Time hasn't taken away Kevin Costner's appeal, it's redefined it. He's evolved from Hollywood's golden boy into a commanding elder statesman of film and television. His gray-lined face and heavier frame tell the story of a life fully lived, and that authenticity resonates in a way youthful beauty never could. So yes, you may not instantly recognize Kevin Costner if you're picturing the dashing leading man of the 90s. But his transformation is powerful in its own right. He has aged into his roles, carrying with him the authority, the gravity, and the presence that only time can create. Costner may look different, but he remains unforgettable. Candice Bergen, a name once synonymous with elegance, wit, and effortless beauty. In the 1960s and 70s, she wasn't just another Hollywood starlet, she was the standard of sophistication. With her icy blonde hair, flawless porcelain skin, and piercing blue eyes, Bergen seemed untouchable, the very image of glamour. Whether gracing the silver screen in the Sand Pebbles or dazzling on magazine covers as a fashion icon, she carried herself with a confidence that left audiences spellbound. By the late 1980s, she reinvented herself, forever etching her name into television history as the sharp-tongued, stylish Murphy Brown. For decades, Candice Bergen wasn't only admired for her undeniable talent, but for her timeless beauty that seemed immune to age. But time, of course, spares no one. Today, in her late 70s, Bergen looks so transformed that some fans say they can hardly recognize her. The luminous glow that once defined her features has given way to wrinkles, sagging skin, and hair now silver-white, worn in shorter, practical styles. The sculpted cheekbones that once gave her face such striking definition have softened, and her figure, once camera-ready, now reflects the honest reality of aging. For many who still picture her as Murphy Brown, or as the icy blonde goddess of her youth, the contrast is startling. And yet, Bergen refuses to hide behind Hollywood's illusions. She has been refreshingly honest about her transformation, openly admitting she no longer chases impossible beauty standards. She laughs about enjoying food, dismisses obsessive dieting, and boldly embraces aging without fear. This candor has divided fans. Some applaud her authenticity, while others can't help but mourn the glamorous face they remember. But here's the truth. Beneath the changes, Candice Bergen remains Candice Bergen. Her wit, her charm, her razor-sharp delivery, those haven't aged a day. From the revival of Murphy Brown to her recent supporting roles, she continues to prove why she became an icon in the first place. Yes, you may not recognize her at first glance. The radiant blonde of yesterday has evolved into someone softer, older, and more natural. But Candice Bergen's story reminds us of something powerful. True star power doesn't vanish with time. It transforms. It endures. And in Bergen's case, it shines with a fearless kind of grace. Liv Ullmann, once the face of European cinema, is almost unrecognizable today. In the 1960s and 70s, she was a vision of elegance and intensity, captivating audiences in Ingmar Bergman's masterpieces like Persona, Cries and Whispers, and Scenes from a Marriage. With her piercing eyes, sculpted cheekbones, and luminous Scandinavian beauty, Ullmann wasn't just an actress, she was a force. She radiated strength and vulnerability in equal measure, becoming one of cinema's most unforgettable icons. But time, relentless and unyielding, has transformed her. Now in her 80s, Ullman's once flawless skin bears the deep lines of life fully lived. The golden brown hair that once framed her face like a halo has softened into silver, worn shorter now for comfort rather than glamour. Her graceful steps have slowed, her posture more fragile. But her gaze, though changed, carries something even more powerful, the weight of wisdom, heartbreak, and triumph. For those who remember her luminous presence in Bergman's films, the difference can be startling. The ethereal beauty that once defined her image has given way to something far more profound, a dignified, weathered grace that no camera can fully capture. What time has taken in youth, it has repaid in depth. Her artistry has only sharpened, her ability to communicate emotion now layered with the richness of experience. Unlike so many stars, Ullman has refused to hide behind cosmetic illusions. She has embraced aging with honesty, choosing authenticity over vanity. In interviews, she speaks candidly about love, loss, and the passage of time, while continuing her work as a director and humanitarian. Yes, the radiant ingenue of the 1960s may be gone. But in her place stands something rarer, and perhaps even more inspiring. A woman who has aged with courage, dignity, and truth. Liv Ullman reminds us that true star power is not measured in flawless skin or youthful beauty. It shines through wisdom, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of a life fully lived. Judd Nelson. You'd hardly recognize him today. Back in the 1980s, Judd Nelson wasn't just another actor. He was the bad boy every teenager wanted to be. As John Bender in The Breakfast Club, he burned his way into pop culture with that leather jacket, the defiant stare, and that untamed hair. He was rebellion personified, the kind of poster boy who plastered bedroom walls and magazine covers everywhere. But time has a way of rewriting even the boldest faces. Now in his early 60s, Judd Nelson looks almost like a different man, leaving longtime fans stunned. The smooth, boyish skin is now traced with deep lines across his forehead and eyes. That once thick mane is streaked with gray, thinner and tamer than the wild locks of his youth. His jawline, once sharp enough to cut glass, has softened, his frame carrying the weight of years gone by. The mischievous spark that once screamed rebellion has matured into a more thoughtful, reflective gaze. Every public appearance and every role he's taken in recent years has only highlighted that transformation. For those who grew up with John Bender, the contrast feels almost jarring, a reminder that even the most iconic teen idols cannot outrun the march of time. Yet, what hasn't changed is perhaps the most important part, Judd Nelson's charisma. That mix of humor, intensity, and razor-sharp self-awareness still lingers every time he speaks, every time he steps on screen. He's never tried to hide the years, never pretended to be the eternal rebel. Instead, he wears his authenticity like a badge of honor. The leather-jacketed heartthrob may be gone, replaced by a silver-haired veteran of Hollywood, but the essence of Judd Nelson, his magnetism, his presence, his fire, remains untouched. His journey isn't just about aging, it's proof that true star power doesn't fade with time. It transforms, it deepens, and it lasts. Lori Loughlin, once the nation's beloved girl next door, is almost unrecognizable today. Back in the late 1980s and 1990s, her radiant smile, golden blonde hair, and wholesome charm as Rebecca Donaldson Katsopoulos on Full House made her a household name. She was the picture of American innocence, effortlessly glamorous yet completely relatable, captivating teens and families alike. To many, she seemed frozen in time, the eternal beauty of primetime television. But time spares no one. Now nearing her 60s, Loughlin's appearance has stunned longtime fans. The flawless, youthful complexion that once lit up TV screens now bears the natural lines of age, fine wrinkles around her eyes and mouth, traces of a life fully lived. Her once thick golden hair has softened into lighter shades, her features less full but still unmistakably hers. The vibrant glow that defined her Full House years has evolved into the mature presence of a woman who has weathered decades of Hollywood pressures, career turbulence, and deeply personal trials. Her legal troubles and highly publicized fall from grace only magnified the contrast between the bubbly star of yesterday and the reflective woman who walks red carpets today. For fans, the transformation is jarring, proof that even America's sweetheart can't outrun time or the weight of scandal. Yet, beneath the changes, one thing remains: Lachlan's quiet charisma. She carries herself with grace, dignity, and a confidence that only comes from surviving the harshest storms. Yes, the Lori Loughlin of Full House fame is gone, replaced by a silver-haired figure whose beauty now lies in maturity, resilience, and strength. But her ability to command attention has not faded, it has simply shifted. Her transformation is not just about age or scandal, it's a reminder that true star power doesn't live in youth alone. It endures, even as time reshapes the face of the girl next door into that of a woman who has lived, stumbled, and still stands tall. Marilu Henner, the transformation of a Hollywood icon. You might not even recognize Marilu Henner today. Back in the late 1970s and throughout the 1980s, she was one of Hollywood's brightest stars. As Elaine Nardo on Taxi, she lit up television screens with her quick wit, radiant beauty, and that girl-next-door charm that made audiences instantly fall in love with her. With her golden hair, dazzling smile, and expressive eyes, Henner seemed like a star who would never fade. But time has a way of reshaping even the most familiar faces. Decades later, Henner looks strikingly different, so much so that many longtime fans are stunned when they see her now. The smooth, youthful glow that once defined her has given way to fine lines and wrinkles. Her high cheekbones have softened, her lips are slimmer, and her iconic blonde hair has transformed into silver strands, often cut short in an elegant, understated style. The bubbly, energetic spirit of her Taxi years has matured into a calm, poised presence, reflecting the wisdom and resilience of a woman who has lived her life under Hollywood's spotlight. For fans who remember her in Taxi or Cannonball Run, the change can be jarring. Yet behind the surface, Henner's essence hasn't disappeared, it's only deepened. She never chased extreme cosmetic procedures or tried to cling desperately to youth. Instead, she embraced aging with honesty, choosing health, wellness, and authenticity over artificial glamour. And in doing so, she has only grown more admirable. Yes, Marilu Henner may no longer look like the vibrant young star who first captured America's heart, but her intelligence, charisma, and enduring talent remain unmistakable. Her transformation is a reminder that true Hollywood icons don't just shine when they're young. They evolve, proving that grace, confidence, and inner beauty can outlast even time itself. Thank you for watching Exposed Hollywood. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the stories behind the stars.